Okay, let's go ahead and get started then. All right, let's real quick prayer and then we'll go. Thank you, Lord. Just again, thank you for this chance to do this. Help us to get it right. Help us to figure this stuff out and learn some new stuff today. Hopefully, learn something brand new. In your name we pray. Amen. Okay, so I had you guys doing some research for the homework. Let me go through this real quick. Okay, so we had first off we had the first video about the submarine. Okay, that's the name of the submarine? Lauren, what's the name of the submarine? Blake, you have any idea?
The turtle.
The turtle. Okay, the turtle. Okay, and how many people could be inside the submarine?
One.
One guy. All right, just one guy actually. And his job is to pedal it and steer it, activate the weapons and everything. What kept it from working?
Metal hulls.
Yes. What's that mean? A metal hull.
No.
What's a hull?
Is it like part of the ship?
It's that very bottom part of the ship, under the water. And so when he goes to drill the hole in it, can't go through because it's metal, and the drill bit he's got is for wood bit, and so it doesn't work that way. Okay. Now, this is a good question for you, and I want you to think about this. Now, this is 1776 when this happens. Did they just come up with that idea that year? What do you think? How long do you think it took them?
Say?
How long do you think it took them to come up with the idea of building this thing?
A long time.
It actually been going on for a long time. It could have been. It's interesting because the idea could have been the British idea first, but instead the Americans are going to use it against them in this battle of. It's actually the Battle of Long Island. It's in the middle of that battle, while George Washington and his men are trying to get across the river and get out of there. They use this little ship, and it gives them, what it mainly does is it scares the British because they're like, wait a minute, now we have to watch for people like sneaking up on us with like a submarine, which nobody had ever done before. That's why it's such a big deal. So, second video I had you talking about was the Battle of Saratoga. Where is Saratoga? What state? Okay, Isaiah, what state Saratoga in? On my chat, I'm gonna do this too. If you guys should do this. Isaiah, any idea what state Saratoga's in? Let me do this real quick for you. I'm gonna go over to Google Maps real quick. And by the way, if you have Google Earth on your computer, I would highly suggest using it with this stuff when you're studying it because it's gonna help. I go over here and I'm gonna go. Let me see, Saratoga National Battlefield Park, and it's gonna take me over here on the video to Saratoga battlefield, and this is a big battlefield in New York State. So if you have something for notes, write down Battle of Saratoga, September the 19th or 17th of 1777 is going to be a battle up in New York State. Okay, and the idea of this battle is they're trying to take over this area, and again, the idea is there's the Hudson River right over there. Bemis Heights that they keep mentioning in the video is right over here. And there's going to be a major part of the combat that takes place there. And again, if you were to follow that river all the way down south there, okay, you get to New York City. So this was the attempt of the British to just take over and cut New York in half and cut that part of the country off completely, which would include, by the way, Boston. So that's the whole idea of this one. So here's where our Saratoga Battlefield Park is. Now let's go ahead and drop down on the battlefield and get an idea of what this one looks like, because this one's a pretty gigantic battlefield. Okay, so here, we'll drop right over here on this road right here, hopefully. And this gives you some idea of, imagine you're fighting an army across this kind of territory right out here. And both armies come together. Who ends up winning this battle? Okay, Aaliyah, who wins the Battle of Saratoga?
Patriots?
Patriots do. Badly. Who's the commander of the British at this one?
What's his name? Burgoyne.
Yeah, Gentleman Johnny Burgoyne. Okay, kind of the dandy, like all the girls like him, and he's more about party than he is about battles. And he thinks he's going to win because he's British, and he's like, we always win. So he kind of gets a little arrogant. It's going to come back and bite him. Okay. Now the guy that's fighting against him is this guy right here at the lead. Let's put him in there. The American commander is Horatio Gates. He has a nickname. I want to give you that nickname here. Okay, his nickname is Granny. Okay. Now, Isaiah, if a teammate called you Granny, would that be a compliment usually? Probably not. Probably not. When you think of grandmothers, Aaron's still here. Yeah, Aaron. What is when you think of somebody calling somebody, or no, actually Lauren, if somebody's calling somebody a granny, usually what would they be saying that they are? What are some words that you would use to describe him?
Old.
Old, slow, maybe not super aggressive. That's the nickname he has, and his own guys think he's kind of he's a little bit too worried about his image. Okay, I need you to put in your notes somewhere. He thought he should be president of the United States. He was or he thought later he thought he should be president of the United States. He thinks he should be in charge of the army, and that's important because he's completely convinced that Washington's an idiot basically, and that he should be the guy running the place, not George Washington. And so, if you can already kind of figure out, that's going to be problematic. Okay, so he's our guy. Now we get introduced to a brand new. There's a lot of people who get introduced for the very first time at this battle. And what I'm doing is, on my other screen, I have pictures that I'm pulling up so that I can do the same kind of thing with them. So here's Dan. I'm gonna pull up Daniel Morgan. Okay.
How long was George Washington president?
Well, he's going to be president for 8 years, but that's it, and that's not going to come for a long time after this war is over. Okay, he has to be general first, and all the way through the war, there's guys thinking I should be in charge, not him. He's not as smart as I am. They should make me the general, and which is interesting because to us that seems kind of like, wow, that seems awfully presumptuous of you guys. Why would you do that? Now it's interesting. Now I'm looking at this picture and I'm realizing that they really do only have the old picture of Daniel Morgan. Here, I'm going to take a picture of this real quick and then we take notes on it. And let me see. Okay, so I got a new picture here of, this is Daniel Morgan right here. Okay. Okay, whose project is already? How many of you guys have already had a project that's dealt with? And you can put on your microphones now. Who's had? Isaiah, did your project have Daniel Morgan in it? Let me go back over here now, real quick. Okay, let me get this out of the way. So yours didn't. Lauren, did yours have Daniel Morgan in it?
No.
No. Okay, I know Aaron's did because this is where he really makes a name for himself. Daniel Morgan, we got to go through and talk about this a little bit. Daniel Morgan is the rifleman. Okay, let's put him here as rifleman, which means, remember, that's a very accurate rifle that will shoot long range. He's the guy who's in charge of an entire group of soldiers who are using the rifles. And this is the first time we really see him come out into the big spotlight, is at Saratoga. He isn't used right, Granny Gates doesn't quite put him into battle at the right time and almost wastes his effort, okay? Luckily he survives because we're gonna need him later. We have another, who was the person, the video that you guys had, the one I finally was able to get to work, did it mention the other big name that we're going to see at the Battle of Saratoga that we haven't really seen yet?
Ezra Lee.
Well, isn't Ezra Lee the guy running the turtle?
Oh.
It's okay. Here, let me go. Let me bring him up here. Let me give you the name here because this other one's gonna be a big deal. Here, I'm gonna pull this over here for a minute, and I'm gonna go back.
Benedict Arnold.
Benedict Arnold. There we go. There's our guy. Benedict Arnold. What's Benedict? Lauren, what's Benedict Arnold most known for? When we think of Benedict Arnold, what do we think of him? Let me see. I don't know. How about Isaiah? What do you when you think of Benedict Arnold? Do you think anything specific about him? No. Okay. Benedict Arnold is known as the biggest traitor in American history. Like he's the guy who is known as the biggest traitor. And again, by the way, welcome to when you're doing words with this kind of stuff. Let me take a picture of this. We can take notes up for it. Hey John, how are you? I'm gonna take a quick picture of this one. Let me see. New both pages. Here we go. And it makes me laugh. Okay, so here he comes. I hope. Yes. Okay, so let me go through here. This is considered the worst traitor. Worst traitor, and we go TR. Let's try that again. Let's see if I can get that. Oh, is it gonna back up? Oh, here I'm gonna scratch this out then. Okay. Eraser. Oh, there we go. Biggest traitor, and you go TRATIOR. And what is a traitor? When we use it this way, what does the word traitor mean? Miss Patog asked if you could read.
Are you talking about like?
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you talking about like exchanging, or are you talking about like?
Thank you. That's
switching teams.
Exactly the right question. This is the one who switches teams and throws his other guys over the edge. That's exactly right. And let me re-add Jody again real quick. So yeah, the traitor in this case equals you like hurt your own team. You tried to hurt your own guys in the middle of combat, and Benedict Arnold will become in American history the biggest traitor that we ever have. He actually tries to give up his fort to the other side. But I need you to understand here first. He is a hero at Saratoga. Okay? He is a complete and utter hero at Saratoga. He has the best day of his life probably, where he goes out, his general has said, no, you can't fight. I don't want you in there. And he goes, I don't care. I'm going in anyway. And he leads his troops to victory at a moment when it looked like they were going to lose. And so he has the best day of his life ever as fighting in the middle of this. Gets shot in the same leg he'd been shot in before. This is the second time he's been shot in combat. And he's going to, unfortunately, be very angry because of his injuries and because he didn't get any credit for winning this battle. And that later is going to make him want to actually switch sides. And he actually will give up a fort to the British, or tries to give up a fort to the British and switches sides and fights against the Americans, which makes him the biggest villain in American history, because after this battle, a lot of people knew what he had done and thought, this guy's like this incredible general, one of our good guys, and then later he completely violates that. So are there any questions about that part right there? Okay, wait, let me get the chat back up here. Yeah, to betray. I like that. That's good. Now, as we're going through this too, I want to kind of, like I said to you before, if you're using the Google Class or the Google Earth, I really, really would suggest maybe using this feature where you go in and you type in where your battlefield's at. Because one of the things I did, let me see if I got my list here. No, feeling lucky. Projects. I put one together called the Revolutionary War Battles, and I just added 2 of them so far. But as you see with this map right here, you've got your, okay, this is the Battle of Brandywine right here, which is going to, almost exactly at the same time that this is happening up at Saratoga, Washington and his men are fighting down here and trying to, and they're going to lose the battle down there. Okay? But at about the same time, we're going to have the battle at Saratoga. What's the effect, or what happens because of Saratoga? What's the big, or why is it such an important battle for America? You may have a, let's go through here. Isaiah, do you have any idea why it's such a big deal that the Americans win at Saratoga? I'm trying to mention everybody by name so I can get you guys to actually go. Who joins our side because of this? Because of this victory, they finally, one country starts to believe, maybe the Americans.
France.
What's that?
France.
France. This convinces the French, the Americans might actually have a shot here. If, by the way, they're not really, remember, the French don't ever join us because they like us. They join us because they hate the British. And so they're going to join us at this point, and they've already been sending us money and weapons behind the scene, but now they're actually start sending troops over. And we're going to start to get French troops joining the Americans in the middle of the combat, and that's going to change everything. That's the moment where everything gets a little bit different as we're doing this. So, because we don't win without the French help. And we need to be honest with that, is this wasn't going to happen if we didn't get some help. So, all right, so are there any questions about this part so far? Anybody? Are they mercenaries? Not in this case, because they actually join us in a formal alliance like we did in World War II. That's a good question, because we're not paying them. We don't have any money to pay them. The British have money to pay the Germans. We don't have money to pay the French soldiers. As a matter of fact, we need their money, or else we're not going to win this thing. That's a good question, and that's kind of the difference. Now, by the way, they're also a pain in the backside. George Washington, for the most part, doesn't like most of the French troops he has to fight with, because they really are kind of haughty. They kind of think, well, we know how to fight and you do not. And that gets him in trouble later. But George Washington kind of has to figure out, how do I deal with these guys? Obviously, we're not always